All right, I think I'm ready. Cool. So I love that we've talked a lot about photography today. It's one of my major hobbies in life. I started back in high school. Then I went on my mission and I came back and I was like, I just don't know if I can do this anymore. And then I got back into it this last semester. How many of you have taken COM 300, digital imaging? A few people? So I honestly love that class so much, and Sister Esplin's a great teacher. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about today how to take a good picture, because there's lots of things we can do. So the first point is your camera. So personally, I have a Nikon D3200. I've had it for a few years. Hopefully we can upgrade one day. But there are lots of different types of cameras. There are the big ones, there are the small ones, DSLRs. But what's so nice is that we also have them on our phones. And some people think that the phones aren't as good, but they're just as great depending on how you take the picture and what effort you're going to put into it. And so your subjects are really important. So these are my 3 roommates. I just turned around and they were taking a picture, so I snapped one of them real quick. But your subjects can be people or it can be an object. It doesn't matter, but it matters how you're going to handle them. So with people, are they comfortable with you? Do they feel like you're going to take a good picture, or are they going to be awkward and just kind of like not know what to do? So knowing how to pose is a really important factor. Also, with different objects, say you have a picture of an apple, you'll see one later. How are you going to pose the apple? Are you going to have the sticker on it? Are you going to have it the other way? Is a stem in it? However you want to pose it personally. So some key points. So there's going to be 4, but the first one is light. So I went to Bannock, the ghost town, this last Friday, so I have a lot of pictures from there. These are 3. These are people that you probably know in the communication department. But the light is different in all 3 of them. So from this one, it was a speed light coming right at her face. At the top one, it was one of the big lights that they have in the studios right to the side of her on this side. On this one, there are actually 3 different sources of light. So we have the big light source coming in from this side, a reflector, a gold one coming up from this angle, and the natural light coming from behind her, showing the backlighting behind her head. So there's lots of different things we can do. On our phones, though, we have flashlights. So I use my flashlight on my phone a lot. There's also, I have reflectors, I have the natural light from the window, and I'm hoping to get a speed light one of these days. The second one is focus. So when you're focusing on your pictures, these are all really close-up macro photos that I've taken, but you want to make sure that they are in focus. And so for this one, I wanted it to focus right on this part and the Kala brand of the ukulele. And on the left, or on the right one, I don't know what they're called, the little helicopter things. Just focusing on that and having the bokeh and the blur in the background, and the top one with the apple just focusing on the stem. So there's lots of different things, but on your cameras, you have, or like on a DSLR, you can move the little focal point around on the camera. On your phone, you have the ability now, I heard the iPhone 7's a really great photography phone for that, but they have the ability to just like tap the screen and focus on whatever you want to focus on, and it'll blur and bokeh the background for you. The next point is your composition. And so these are another 3 photos. So important things to me is the rule of thirds. Now you can break that rule at times, but you want to be sure that it's an interesting feature. So like in this one, the water droplet on the macro of the rose is right in that top right portion. On the same for, his name's Brian, right up there. His whole body is on that right line. And then the windows on the left is kind of an interesting feature. On the right, we have Amber, and so she's in that top left corner, and just the whole thing is right there. But the composition is really important to make it interesting, to make it different, rather than just somebody standing in the middle of a picture or just having a rose right there. That can be cool, but I think it's really more interesting to show even more with it. So after composition, we have creativity. So your creativity, you can do lots of different things. In that top right one, that's a ghost of Helaman Higley, if you guys know him. And that's just one shot. There's a little bit of editing to it with the color, but besides that, there's nothing to it. And it's all based on your shutter speed and how you want to take that picture. The bottom right, I think, is really important with kids and just anyone in general. Have them loosen up. Be creative and just have them jump around. So these are my little cousins, and I just had them dance around on the beach and then caught some cute pictures of them. So just having them do something rather than just standing there. On the left, we have the door. Take a picture of weird things, just get up close, just have fun. I love the paint chips on the door. It was really fun. For me, personally, so Becca talked a little bit about this, but your post-editing, I personally use Lightroom. So I import them all into Lightroom. And then I move them over to Photoshop on the ones that I really want to touch up and add more of those things that Becca had talked about. with sharpening and the subjective color and all those things. But for you guys, if you don't have the Adobe, which is really nice, but the school has those, there's also Snapseed that you can use on your phone, and it's a free app that you can use to just be able to do the same things that Adobe can do in just a little bit of a different way. And so I'm going to show you 2 different pictures. So this one is my straight out of camera. This is how it came out. Unfortunately, I have a little bit of dust on my lens, and so I can't, unless I get that professionally cleaned, I can't do anything about it except for post-editing. But this was straight out. So it was a little dark in the back, and it was not really my favorite, but I messed around with it and changed it. So that's the original. This is the new. So I added some blue to the background and made the brick building a little more red, not too much because I didn't want it to take over the picture. And then her face, I contoured it a little bit, changed her gloves, so they're actually the same color of gloves because they're a little different in person, and just sharpened her eyes and her lips a little bit. And there's another one, so you can see both of them at the same time. Same thing, so adding the sharpening features, adding the colors, and adding different things to it. It's super easy, just as Becca had shown us. All you have to do is learn how to do it and just have fun. There, you can do all sorts of things. And so with that, if you want to check out my photography, I just started 2 different pages this last semester for a practicum, so there's not a whole lot on there. But on my communication blog, Cassie Wagstaff communication.wordpress.com, I have all my other photos from Com 300 and then my Facebook and Instagram.